You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Hey folks, welcome to a special bonus interview. This is the rest of our interview with Pitof, where he talks about the film Vidocq, as well as his work on Catwoman, and a few other things along the way. Did the success of Alien Resurrection lead to you being able to direct Vidocq?
Not really, because Vidocq was really a French thing, and of course the fact that I've done Alien, of course, that's what helped it. I mean, that's the reason why I was doing Vidocq after that. But it's not because of the box office. It's just because I did it, and because everybody knew about Alien, and people loved the work we did on Alien, and because and that's because of the movie and the quality of the movie itself, and it has nothing to do with the box office. In France, I mean, the box office, that's the very difference in mentality. In France, the box office doesn't mean anything. I mean, the quality of the movie is not the quality of the box office. And usually the best movie didn't get the best box office. And so when we talk about quality, it's never the box office. It's really, did you like the movie? What did you like? And so on. But the numbers, they don't mean anything. But it's changing. I mean, now the movie industry is on a big turn. And of course, COVID doesn't help, but it's not just COVID. I mean, it's the way people experience movies and how the TV shows are taking over the movie industry. I mean, the film industry, the feature film industry. So it's everything is shifting. So I think personally, but that's my personal opinion, that the movie industry is dead. I mean, it's because for one reason. I mean, I grew up watching movies in a theater. Of course, I had TVs and were watching movies on TVs, but my main experience and the reason why I worked in movies it was because of the movie experience. To be in a theater for 2 hours in the dark with no telephone, no internet, no Instagram and all that stuff, and just being immersed in a story, in a world, in whatsoever. And so you live your life at the entrance of the movie theater. You are immersed in something, and you resume your life, when you leave the theater. So that's what I really enjoyed, and that's what makes me make movies. But now, I mean, the experience is not like that. I mean, it's impossible. People have, their cell phone. They are always, during a movie. They're checking internet, emails, text messages, and all that stuff. The attention is different, and also because now people have so many different accesses to imagery. Whatever, it's definitely Instagram, YouTube, now TikTok, now. So the attention span on images have changed, and people are used to not spend more than a few seconds on on an image and go think about other things. So I guess that really has changed the way the people are experiencing movies and the industry, and now the whole revolution with TV series, is such a different route, because you don't tell a story within 2 hours. You tell a story. You have 8 hours to tell a story. You have 10 hours. You have 100 hours. And so it's really much of a ride. And you have this immersive aspect, which I love, but on the long run, you can be immersed even if you check your Instagram, because, the story, is extended within hours. If you miss one plot point, it doesn't matter, because, it's not about the plot, it's about the characters. It's about how you are with the squirrel, and so it's different. The story is different, and personally, I like it. And I've been watching a bunch of TV series, and I really love it. when they're good, of course. And now movies, I'm bored. I mean, most of the movies I've seen are just fucking bad movies. I mean, they are like copycats of of bad movies, and they are even worse than the original. And there's just a few movies I really enjoy as movies. But like it's maybe 400. We still have movies, good quality movies, because we have talented people on this planet. So of course, but I think the feature film will be more like an art piece, something on the side, something like more an art actually, more that less what it's for, like an entertaining thing. I think the entertainment is more going to TV series and other stuff that we may not even know, but in that direction. And the feature film is now like a niche, and I would say now, I mean the feature film is what was the short film like 20 years ago. 20 years ago you have the big, the mega big thing was the feature films, and the short film was like the arty, could be good in that, but good short film could be amazing. But it was this little sometimes jewel. Where now, I mean, that's what's happening. I mean, the big chunk is for TV series, and the little jewel you can find, yes, you can find a good feature film that because the way it's done, because whatever reason, make it beautiful. So I think to me that's how I see it.
Can you tell me a little bit more about Vidocq as far as how that came about then? And because it's such a long-standing character, and you managed to take it and give it such a fresh take. And if memory serves, was that the first, one of the first, was it HD movies that was ever shot?
Yeah, that's right. It was the first. Yeah, definitely. It was the first movie ever shot in HD entirely. At that time, Star Wars have been using digital shot for a few shots, but not entirely. Vidocq is the very first entirely shot in HD. The story is kind of funny because, after I did Alien, personally, I was confident that I could be able to direct a feature film because, I had acquired enough experience on Alien to be a director myself. So when I came back to France, I started to look around to find a movie to direct. So I was reading books and trying to find scripts and stuff. And one day, you have this producer I knew because I worked on his movie before as visual effects supervisor, and he told me, okay, I have this script with a lot of visual effects. Please give me your honest advice because I'm not sure that we can do it in France. And if you think it's not possible in France, then I will try to go in the US to make this movie. So please have a read. And the guy started to explain to me what the movie was about, and he told me it's Vidocq. And Vidocq is a character that is very famous in France because it's based on a real character. Vidocq was the really French Sherlock Holmes in the early 1800s. And in the 60s, 70s, there was a TV series called Vidocq that was describing the real guy. And when I was a kid, I grew up with Vidocq. Vidocq was one of my favorite TV series. And when Dominic, the producer, told me that the movie was about Vidocq, I told him, you know what? I want to be a director. Vidocq, I know Vidocq. I mean, I grew up with his character. Please, would you consider me as a director for this movie? And Dominic told me, yeah, I don't know. Let me think about it. And a week later, he sent me the script and he told me, okay, yes, you can read it as a director. Let me know what you think. So that was the start. And then from that, we started to rewrite the script and so on. But the thing was, I was not a big fan of period piece as a director. I mean, I would have never picked a period piece to do my first movie, and especially a Sword and Sandal. Sword and Sandal in France is like the Western. Here, that could be like kind of quirky and kind of not that good. So in my mind, of course, the one hand, I was very excited by Vidocq and all that stuff. And on the other hand, I was, wow, fuck, I'm in that, really old, stuffy type of French movies. So I really need to give it a something different. And so that's how I started to think about, okay, let's do a sci-fi movie in the past. So let's try to work on this like a retro futuristic kind of look and takes of how you would do in the like a retro futuristic. That was my thing. And so that's how I built everything from that, and even the visual. So I said, okay, the thing, everything takes place in the early 1800s. So how, if you were shooting the movie in the early 1800s, how would you imagine sci-fi for this time? Sci-fi in the 1800s, visually. How would you see that? And so I thought, okay, maybe I will look at painters later, the painters that have been, painting in the mid 18th century. So that's how I look at a lot of paintings or that period, like Gustave Moreau, Gustave Courbet, like Turner, like all this influence of fantasy painters, but very, very pictorial and very, very, which is a very special type of rendering. And that, I said, okay, I will inspire myself from these guys in order to create the universe of Vidocq, because Vidocq is a fantasy anyway. So I didn't have to stick to reality. We any kind of I wanted. So that's how I gave direction to the production designer and to everybody who was like sci-fi in the past. And then on the top of that, so the imagery. So I was not, shooting in 35 with long lens and all that stuff. It will really look like, the old, like a sword and sandal movie in France. So I wanted to have a different look. I wanted a wide angle, a great depth of field and all that stuff. Because I was doing visual effects, I knew everything about technology, and I've heard that Sony was developing this HD camera. And then I went to Sony and asked them, can I see the camera? Is it possible to test it? And the guy said, yeah, sure, of course. I mean, we have one camera that is, doing tours in the world. You can have it to test it. And so on one day, so they shipped the camera in Paris, and I did some tests. And I wanted to make sure that the camera was okay. So I put together a 35 millimeter camera, the HD camera, a video camera, and a low-res camera. We just have 5 cameras like that lined up, shooting a character in wardrobe. And then I transfer everything on film to see the results on the film screen, because the end game was to be on film. And I was blown away by the quality of the camera, the HD camera, which was very different from film, and was giving this texture that you've really never seen before, and especially with the wide angle to give this immersive aspect, almost like a VR thing. So, and I was, okay, I want to shoot with this camera. And then Sony was very helpful and helped us to get, because, and the camera I did a test with, the serial number of the camera was 00001. So that was the very, very, very first HD camera for the test, and then after that they have a version that was built with Panavision. So we had what they call Panavized Sony camera for the shooting. And yes, I mean, so the adventure with this camera was something, because it was really a prototype. Nothing was really working, and especially one of the big challenge was that we couldn't have like video feedback. We just had a huge HD monitor, which was the reference monitor, which the weight of the monitor was like, I don't know, 300 pounds. I mean, 400 pounds. It was huge, and there was no adapter to go to video camera, to video monitor. It was there's no video monitor, and there's no card that transformed the HD into video. So that was a challenge, and the challenge was because I was shooting Steadicam. The whole movie, Vidocq is shot almost entirely on Steadicam. Just a few shots with cranes, but every single shot beside the Technocrane is Steadicam. And then the problem with the Steadicam, because you have to feed the screen for the Steadicam operator. The screen of the Steadicam operator is video, not HD. The only way to get that was to have a video camera that was shooting the viewfinder of the HD camera in order to feed the monitor, the green monitor of the Steadicam operator. So that's what and we have to come up with ideas like that. And finally, 2 weeks after we start shooting, we found in Canada a guy who did a card that could transform the HD signal into a video signal. So we could have like a tape recorder on set and have a video monitor on set to watch to be able to see the shot. So that was the beginning was pretty rocky and interesting because it was like almost like shooting in 35 at the very beginning before we had like a video village, and video tab because I was blind. At the very first shot, I was kind of blind. I was following the Steadicam operator trying to check his monitor to see what was in the shot, and the playback, because the playback was playing back with the original tape. And I didn't want to risk, because it was a tape. So, and the less you play the tape, the better off you are. You don't want to go back and forth on the original tape. So, the very first 2 weeks were a bit awkward, but very interesting. And then after that, we got this card. So yeah, we get more in a more traditional way to shoot with a video village and all that stuff. So that was better. But it was very, very incredible because it changes the way we do the lighting, because the light for the DP it was different to light with his video camera than 35. So he had to adapt his knowledge of lighting and understand how the camera reacts with the light, with the skin tone and all that stuff. But I wanted to have something very stylized. So that's what. And then I use a lot of different cameras. So I put cameras on the body. I use little cameras, low-res cameras for action shots. So I really played with a bunch of different types of cameras for the whole movie. They were all digital, of course.
Well, I know you had directed actors before, but I'm curious, how was it working with Gérard Depardieu?
It was incredible because Gérard, he's an animal. So Gérard is really somebody who is he's a lion, actually. So if he likes you, it's fine. But if he hates you, you're dead. He will kill you. Seriously, he will kill you. And so I was lucky enough. I worked with Gérard before on visual effects movies where he was in, so he knew me. And hopefully he liked me. And then it was very easy because I have a very precise vision of what I wanted. And I just have to communicate my vision to Gérard. And Gérard said, yes, I know. Of course, I know. No worries. And that was pretty easy. And the rest of the cast was also very easy because I was trying to do something so special. So they were really with me and they were trying to understand, even though I didn't have a great experience in directing, they were happy to get my vision, and the way I wanted to create this universe and how I want to have this connection with the people. And because my thing was, I wanted to really, it was the VR before VR. I wanted to be the audience to be like inside this world. That's why everything is wide angle, everything is shot with Steadicam, and I wanted to have this really type of experience.
I have to ask you, how did you get the gig to do Catwoman?
It was because of Vidocq. So in town, in Hollywood, people heard about Vidocq and the performance, and I had a bunch of prizes and stuff like that. The agents were pretty, after me, which is good. That's what you want. You want the agents running after you. Jean-Pierre, had an agent. I was not really sure about it, and then this agent from Endeavor at the time who really chased me, and so I signed with him, and he asked me to come in LA for like a week, so I could do a bunch of journal meetings, and that's what I did. I went in LA for a week, and I spent like the whole day doing meetings after meetings in studios and all that. And it was pretty cool. I was, pretty happy with it. And like a month later, so he sent me, no, not a month ago. Right after that, he sent me a bunch of scripts. And of course, most of them were like really bad. And I said, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And then he said, Catwoman. And he said, you know what? This is a script and I want to, they're interested in you. Would you read it? I said, yeah, of course. So I read the script. And the script was not very good, not so bad, but then it's Catwoman. How can you say no to Catwoman? And I said to my agent, yeah, no, of course, please tell the studio I would really be happy to do Catwoman. And that's how it started. So I flew back to LA to have this first meeting with the studio, with the producers. And they like me, I like them, and that's how we started.
Did that relationship stay as happy throughout the production?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. Because Catwoman was a very, very bizarre experience. One of the best and one of the worst. And really, really, the entire spectrum is covered. At the very beginning, I was hired by a guy who was like a star at Warner Brothers, and he was responsible for The Matrix, for Harry Potter. So nobody could say no to him, and he hired me, and so we had a great relationship, and that's how it started. Then he became number 2 of Warner Brothers. And maybe he was like a little bit fast, wanted to be number 1. So bottom line, he gets fired. And at that point, and he established the first rule of Catwoman, and he wanted to do like an action movie, fun. So he hired this writer, Ferris and Brancato, who did The Game by Fincher, which was a really good movie, and they were good writers. So his name is Lorenzo. Di Bonaventura. So Lorenzo gave the writers, direction for, to do this like action fun movie and stuff. That's how they started with. And then Lorenzo gets fired, and so everything was in flux because we didn't know the studio would pick Catwoman again, or because of the firing, maybe Catwoman will die. At that point, there's 2 female-driven character movies that were in line. It was Catwoman and it was Wonder Woman. And the problem with Wonder Woman is nobody wanted to no actresses in town wanted to be Wonder Woman because she was kind of tacky and all the girls wanted to be Catwoman. So that's how, the energy went off Wonder Woman for Catwoman. So that's how the studio finally get, okay, we'll make Catwoman. And then, okay, so a new studio executive to give new direction. And so the writers, not a 180, but, different direction. And so the writers start to work. So then we get into this studio writing process, which is fucking ridiculous because, everybody has what to say. And you have like 20 people in your room to give notes to the script. At some point, of course, the more brain, the more quality you have. That's true. But, when you reach sometime, what happens, you reach a moment where you are at the maximum you can do with the material. The word to say at this point is stop everything. We got the best we can have with what we have. But the studio system is made that people have to keep working. So when we reach this point, then, okay, how can we make it better? What can we change? And then same thing, people because they are paid for that, they give notes and notes and notes and notes. And that's where the things start to drop. It's actually, if you're doing a sculpture, and then you start to keep digging. The nose at the end, you lose the nose because after trying to lose on the right end, then you lose on the left end, and so on. So that's what happened with the script. By giving notes of notes, we had the script that was at some point like fucking ridiculous, and hopefully everybody in the room say, okay, we are in trouble. The script is really bad. We need to fix it. And it was the 1st of May, and we were supposed to shoot in September. So we were in sort of an urgency. So then they decided, okay, we need to hire a script doctor to fix things because our writers they are at the end of the road. So we needed to find somebody else. So they hired Ed Solomon. Ed Solomon, who did he was the writer of Men in Black. So a guy, who knows how to deal with action, comedy, and all that stuff. But he was the perfect guy for that. So we met with Ed, and Ed read the scripts and read the notes. And the irony is a stack of notes were even bigger than the scripts, more notes than page written. And Ed said, you know what, I understand what you want. I think fixing all these notes will be like dreadful. I'd rather rewrite from scratch. I know exactly what you want. I understand everything. And it will be easier and faster to rewrite the whole thing and not, fixing note after note. And the studio executive at the time said, okay, go for it. And so you have 2 months to build the script. And that's what we started to work with Ed on the writing, on the rewriting. I mean, on the writing it wasn't a rewrite. It was, right from the ground. And then, so we spent the first month together working on the script. We were pretty happy. Then 1st of June, the studio wanted me to start the prep because we were shooting in September. So I went to Vancouver to start the prep. So I hired my production designer, Jean Rabas, who did Vidocq, because they liked the look of Vidocq. And Jean Rabas also was the production designer of The City of Our Children. So he's a genius. And so they accepted that I bring this guy on board. So Rabas met me in Vancouver the 1st of June, and then we start to work during the whole month of June on pre-production, on design, while Ed was still working on the script. And I was in Paris. I was in Vancouver, but I was on the phone with Ed every day. So, and we went, within the end of June, we had a first draft, not perfect, but a good draft. So good enough to really go back to the studio. And then we have this big show and tell back in Los Angeles. So I flew back to Los Angeles, and we have this big show and tell with the studio where we were showing the production design, where we are at, the script, and everything. And then Alan Horn, who was the studio boss, then didn't know about the changes. And Alan knew we had to do, we will fix the script, but he was not aware that we were changing everything. So he was in the room looking at the everything. Oh, and then the Catwoman, wasn't she supposed to do this and this? Oh no. Okay, I see. So he was kind of fucking lost. And then the day after, the message was, okay, guys. So first, the production designer is fired. The guy is too early. It's way too dark. We want something, more like light and happy, and and all that. The script. I mean, they spent $1 million on the script with Ed Solomon. This script, you know what? We're not happy with it. So get rid of the script. Go back to the early version. Go back to the last version, the early scripts from First and Bencato, and just fucking fix it. I was devastated because I had to fire my friend Jean Rabas first, and then I knew that we were screwed because there's no way we can fix the script. I mean, it's impossible. It's bad. It's really bad. And the producer told me, okay, you know what? You won't have to deal with the scripts. I'm taking the lead on the scripts. You stay in Vancouver and you prep the movie. I will send you pages, and you have to do your job as a director. And I say, okay, I'll do the best I can. And that's how we started. And the thing which today pissed me off is, I mean, it pissed me off back in the day, but I'm still pissed about that. Because, the way we wrote the script was really with the backstory of Catwoman. So the whole thing was, the beginning of the movie was to present the character of Catwoman and how she became Catwoman. And in our version, she became a Catwoman when she was a kid. And so, so the very first 10, 15 minutes was to see the little Catwoman, stealing fish in the market, living like an animal. And my reference was l'enfant sauvage, the wild kid from Truffaut. And so I had references like that. And the studio say, no, we don't want backstories, because at that time the Hulk had the backstory, and the Hulk did bad at the box office, and the studio say, okay, backstory, bad box office, so no backstory. I say, fuck, guys. I mean, Jesus, yeah, fuck. How can you be that stupid? And then the other movie that was doing great was Spider-Man. So we want something like Spider-Man, light, colorful, loving, do Spider-Man. And so you have some scene that was like not copycat, but was inspired by scenes in Spider-Man, because Spider-Man was a hit. So you have to do what a hit does. I say, fuck, I mean, the movies were going to be released in 2 years. Okay. And also, they hired me because of Vidocq. And Vidocq was dark. So I was going to do a dark movie. And Catwoman is a dark character. She's not light. I mean, she's intense. She's raw. It's the opposite of the character. It's a wrong route. But I knew anyway that I'm not in France. So as a director, my voice is like nothing. So I had to deal with what I'm told. And so I said, okay, fuck it, I'll do what you want. And so I put myself, my ego, down, at the back of my pocket, and say, okay, I'll do whatever they want. I know I'm a professional, so they hired me to be a professional. I'll be a professional down the line, and that's how I did everything. So even 10 days before shooting, the producer called me and said, okay, I guess you've received the last version of the script, which is the official shooting script, version 1.0, even though it's not final. I mean, you have everything to shoot. So what do you think? And I said, what, frankly, I just moved in this new apartment in Vancouver. I'm at the 18th story. I don't know if I'm going to jump tonight or tomorrow morning. And she didn't, but of course I was joking. And she lacked the sense of humor. And she told me right away, okay, if you don't think you're a director for this movie, let me know. Meaning, okay, if you don't want to do it, no big deal, no harm. I mean, you can leave tomorrow. Have somebody to replace you. And so, I have in a split second, I say, okay, what can I? Either way, I'm fucked. If I leave the movie, who the fuck are you, French director? You were snobbish. You think the script is not good enough for you, or you're scared because you don't have the shoulder to make such a big movie and all that. So I think would be like a negative on my back. And if I stay, I will be screwed because the movie will be not good. I mean, not as good as I want anyway, and it won't be a good movie. So I'm screwed either way. And I said, okay. I thought, okay, you know what? I'm the captain. That's the way in the industry works. It's a ship. I'm the captain of the ship. It's a sinking ship, but I will die the last. I will do whatever I can, maybe to save the ship, but I'll be the last to leave the ship. So that's what I did. And then from that on, I put like a horse. I had I put some you put along your eyes to see one. Yes, the blinders. Yes, thank you. So I would like a horse with blinders to see only what I have to only what's in front of me, and that's it. And so work and try to please the studio And that's what I did. I mean, the studio was happy with the movie. I've never reshot anything that they didn't like. I never had one note saying you should do that and that. So I did my job. So that's the part I'm proud of. But at the end, the movie doesn't look at all at any level. Whatever is the art direction, whatever it's the character, whatever is anything, it has nothing to do with what I had in mind. So that's and I had to live with that. And then after that, when I have meetings in Hollywood and people say, how do you feel? And I say, you know what? I feel like in Rosemary's Baby. I've been raped by the devil, and I have to give birth to this monster. And it's okay. I can't say it's not my baby because it's my baby. I carry it in my womb for 9 months. But it's a rape. It's a fucking rape. And that's how I feel. I feel I've been raped. It's something it takes a while to understand, and then to move on. Yeah, and to move on. That's really it takes time to heal, definitely. And because especially as French, because we see things as an art piece, and we put everything in what we do. We're not. I mean, of course, we're professional, but we go beyond that. We give our soul. We give everything more than just be professional. And so it's but it's a double-edged sword, because then what comes back can kill you if it's wrong. Sort of.
So how do you recover from that? How do you move on from Catwoman? Do you go back to visual effects? What's the next step for you?
So I never recovered, really. I mean, it took me years and years and years. So I've been doing a bunch of stuff, and going back to visual effects was not even an option, because I've been the FX guy for years, and I never loved effects. I mean, in a way, when I was a kid, my dream was not effects. And I didn't give a shit about effects. As a moviegoer, I was happy to do it. I was good at it, but it wasn't my dream. So, and I didn't want to be parked to be locked into that effects world, and so I didn't work in visual effects after that. So after that, I was trying to find scripts, what I did, and and stories. I never, every movie I tried to make never happened. A year after Catwoman, not even a year, not long after Catwoman. Yeah, I had this. And while I was doing Catwoman, Sharon Stone proposed me to do Basic Instinct 2. And I read the script, and that was I was doing Catwoman. So we were doing the mixing, and Sharon told me, you know what? I have this movie, Basic Instinct 2. I would love to consider it. And she liked me, and I liked her too. And so I read the script, and the script was so bad, really so bad. I spoke with the producer, Mario Casar, I knew, by the way, and I told Mario, you know what, the script is very bad. I can't do that. And Mario told me, you know what, Catwoman cannot be released. So now you're still a hot guy. Having a movie, down, on a lineup before your movie is released is really a chance. So think of it. And I said, yes, but would Sharon be okay to modify things? Be honest with me. And he said no. But her script, she has been developing it. It's her passion project. You won't make her do anything. And I said, okay. Knowing Sharon, I said, okay, you know what? No, I'm not doing that. I said, thank you for the offer, but I'm not doing it. And then at the end, Sharon did the movie she wanted, and the movie was like bad. I saw the movie, it was really bad, and the movie did like a $10 at the box office. It was ridiculous. And then after that, I had the movie was released, and then I had this project, and my agent told me, you know what? Are you okay to do a small movie? I said, yes, of course. The smallest than anything. And so I had a friend who connected me with this writer who did a movie called, it was called Only in New York. And Jim Caviezel was attached to it. And the movie was lined up, was produced, was financed. And then I accepted to make this movie. And so I meet with Jim, and we had like a Ray Liotta also as another character. So and Gérard Depardieu was okay to be a part of the movie. We had a role for him. So everything was, the stars were lined up for me. And then we started pre-production in Toronto because we were supposed to shoot New York in Toronto. And 2 weeks, everything was ready, everything was lined up. And 2 weeks before shooting, one of the financiers bailed out and the movie stopped. And that was like a big hit on my head because, I was really, really going to shoot and something great, dark. It was a dark movie, really something for me with no visual effects. So something that really could be like a really my out of jail card, get out of jail card, because I was in jail, my redemption, and so it was really my redemption movie. And 2 weeks before shooting, he stopped, and the producer, he couldn't get the movie off the ground, so stopped. And I was fucking devastated, really, really devastated. Not suicidal, but really bad. And my agent finally find me. I told my agent, find me something. I'm so fucking depressed. I need to be on set. My life is to be on set. So find me something. And then he found me this movie, a TV movie called Fire and Ice, where the director was. I can't remember what was the reason, but they were looking for somebody to shoot right now. So I was ready, of course, and then I did this movie. It was a small TV movie with dragon and stuff, and not very good, but not very bad. Well, I just did the shooting, and the producer did the post-production. I have no word on anything, but I enjoyed shooting it. It was doing something, and then after that, I get contacted by a Chinese producer, financier, entrepreneur, a crazy Chinese guy who wanted to hire me to do Chinese Star Wars, kind of. First, the guy wanted to be the Chinese George Lucas, the producer, so he wrote the script. It was his version of Star Wars, but instead of being in outer space, it was underwater. In ancient Greek, underwater monsters and all that. And so the guy sent me the scripts, which was horrible. It was a straight translation from Chinese to English, so it was really hard to understand first. Yeah, really, really hard to understand. But he sent me a bunch of visuals because the guy had been working on the development for like a few years, and he had a bunch of kids doing like illustration, doing research, and so I had hundreds of images, and among them some were pretty interesting. So I felt, okay, there's something to do here. There's something. And so my agent, okay, said to the guy, okay, I'm interested. And the guy, the week after that, the Chinese was in LA to meet me with his partner. The Chinese didn't speak a word of English, but he has a partner, a Chinese partner who was speaking English. So he was to meet me in LA to talk about the movie. And the guy really wanted me to make the movie. And so he said, yeah, whatever you like. I mean, it's your movie. You want to see the script? I knew he wrote the script, but you want to change it? Yeah, fine. Do whatever you want. But, I really want you to direct the movie. And it was his money. He was to be a rich guy. And then within a week, everything was wrapped. I mean, I got my paycheck for a year. I got my ticket to Beijing. And it was just, the speed was incredible. The guy wanted it to happen right now. So I flew to Beijing to start to work. And the guy was crazy nice, but crazy. And first the guy, okay, now we got this first meeting. It is prop meeting. What? Yeah, props. I've been designing a bunch of props. So prop meeting. I said, you know what? We have a script to write. So I'm happy to watch some props, but we have other things to take care about. Yeah, okay. So I was very diplomatic. I said, we had this meeting with 20 people, show me props. More horrible, more than anything. This was ugly, stupid, cheap, bad. So, But it's I don't want to be bad mouth. So I say, yeah, cool. But we have time to fix anything. So and then so the plan to work on the script but everything was slow because we have translators and from Chinese to English and back and forth. It took time. So everything was baby steps. And so finally, to find that, okay, he's not a writer, I'm not a writer, so we have to find somebody to write a script. So I went back to in LA to find a US writer. So I brought this guy in Beijing. So we started to write the scripts. And to make the story short, after a few months, the guy just hated the scripts, fired the writer, and said, okay, no, I keep writing the script and so on. But the thing, what kept me in China, actually, is the guy offered me, so his dream was ILM, again, and he wanted to be the Chinese George Lucas. And he offered me to be partner with him in a post-production company in China, and I would be, owner of the company. So we would do the movie in this post-production company, and then after the movie, I would fly back to Los Angeles, and I will have my factory in China. To me, it was like a gift from the gods. Okay, fine, I will have fun a year in China, and then back in LA, we'll have my visual effects factory in China. And I'm talking, it was 2008. So it was the very beginning of the opening, China opening their doors. It was the Olympic in China, in Beijing. So everything was new. You have this amazing energy in China, entrepreneur. It was an incredible year. So I was very excited, by having, and I almost thought, okay, I can have a food in China. And then I started to learn Chinese, to learn Mandarin. And I thought I could have a loft, an apartment in Beijing and my house in Los Angeles, and sometimes go back and forth. I was really comfortable with the idea, and so that's really kept me, working on the movie, even though the script was going south. And then down the line, I start to understand more the guy, and that he was full of shit, and he didn't have the money, he says, and there's no company, and he would never give me anything. I wouldn't be partner. So then I left. And I said, I'm not going anywhere if I'm not doing, something I like, whether it's a company or a movie. So I left. So the whole story was over a year. So so I went back to Los Angeles. I made some money, so that was a good thing. But I had nothing, to come back. I had, stories about Chinese girl and the life in China, which was incredible. And that was it. So that's the second, movies that didn't happen, even though the experience was amazing. So I didn't lose it. So I kept, trying to work and to try to find projects. But then your agents start to look at you as a loser because everything I was touching wasn't happening. So then you start to lose your agents. It's a thing, the agents, usually you talk to your agents every week. And then your agent doesn't talk to you every 2 weeks, and then every 3 weeks, and then she doesn't return your call. And you say, what the fuck? And then you understand that, they just not nicely actually, they just fire you. Because, after no return phone call or emails, I called the boss of I changed. And I called the boss and I say, hey, who is my agent? What happened? And then he didn't say anything. And then I got an email from the agent. Oh, Pitof, we had such a good time representing you, but I think, our life, our past now have crossed. It's better for you to all the bullshit, the usual bullshit. And then and I didn't have any agent anymore. And finding other agents was complicated, and so on. So I was really on my own, and was not really a chance to go anywhere. So, and I started to work on commercial. I started a company with a friend of mine to produce commercial and to do a bunch of different things. So I, start to move away from the movie industry, step by step. Feeling like, like on a caravan. You're in a desert. and you feel that you are this person that suddenly is out of the caravan, and you're in the middle of the fucking desert, and you see the caravan with the camels, with everything, long, in front of you, and you're alone in the desert. So you have to deal with different things, and and find new ways. That's what I was looking at. And then a few years ago, I had a crash because the thing is, I wanted to avoid visual effects, which was like a mistake at some point, because when you have something, don't give it up. I mean, even though it's not, if you have something, it's for a reason. If I was hooked with visual effects, it was for a reason, because it's part of my talent and part of my knowledge and part of my experience. And then my path crossed with with VR, with virtual reality. 5 years ago, so I bought this first Oculus DK2 headset with a computer, and I started to explore VR. And it was like 5 years ago, so it was very rudimentary, very basic, but very interesting. When I was checking that, I say, wow, that's really what I like, actually. That is this immersive thing that I felt when I was in a movie. When, as a moviegoer, that's what I like, to be immersed in something. And this VR thing is giving you that. But of course, at that time, it was so like a rudimentary. So there's no business in that thing. But I kept that somewhere in my mind. I said, yes, there's something. And then it was the very beginning where people were talking about, maybe VR will be the future of cinema. Cinema 2.0 will be something at VR. And then I started to look closer on VR and do some forums and some things like that, and to understand how it works. And you have people having the theories of telling story in VR. And myself, I say no, it doesn't work like that. You can't tell a story in VR. It's because it is the opposite. Telling a story, you need a frame. You need to bring the people into something with a line, and it's linear. Where VR is non-linear, so it's incompatible. You can't use the storytelling of a movie in VR. It's totally different things. And VR is more like a storytelling, a live storytelling. So to me, my vision was, okay, it's like a grandma who's telling a story to her grandkids, and she will adapt the story depending on how the kid is reacting. So if she wants to scare the kid, she will use a dragon, at the right moment, so the kid gets scared. But the next night, she will, even though it's the same story, she will, or the same, concept, she will readdress everything, because maybe this day the kid is sad, so she will do the story nice, and so on. So, and I say, yes, what, that's what VR storytelling is we will be able to do storytelling when the computer will be able to adapt the story to ourselves. The computer will be able to read our mind and, tell the story we want to hear, or the story we don't want to hear, depending on how it works. And so it's going to happen someday, but not now. But I would love to be part of this new type of storytelling where you deal with computer and you deal with how to be able to read the mind of people and then adapt stories and play with that. Well, that's what my direction of some sort. And then I said, but maybe VR can be useful today for other things. And of course, living in Los Angeles for almost like 20 years. I'm close to meditation, to yoga, and to all, of well-being practices. And I said, but, maybe with VR, there are ways to help people in well-being, to help people with meditating, to help people with stress, with calm down, and maybe start to work with the technology when you can, read people's mind by action, how they move their hand, how they move their head, how they react, and later on, because existing, technology where you can, read the brain waves and, and all that kind of thing. And it's happening now. And that's what, now really gets me passion is to be able to tell stories in different ways and using different type of stories. And because meditation is bring you into world, into stories, into things that are not, the same type of storytelling than a book or a movie. But it's stories. Anyway, everything is a story. Whatever we do is a story. Whatever we say is a story. I mean, religion is a story. Politics is a story. Everything is a story. So it's just, it's just in what frame you tell the story, what type of story you say, you tell. And so that's why I saw in VR a door to access and to understand how it works, to find my way of how I will, find ways to tell stories, even though it's not stories that we understand story today, but how you can, take people into worlds, take people into emotion, take people into feeling things that we may not know how today. And because my thing is feeling what I feel. It's obvious, but what I feel in a movie is feeling something, and what I like in a movie is feeling something. If the the only feeling is boredom, it's not what I want. So I want to be sad, to be happy, to be. It shakes emotion in me when I have this entertaining experiences. And I think with VR, there are ways. It's a little, not for today. There are other business we can do with VR, and that's what we're developing now is, trying to develop apps to help people meditate, to help people find some peace, because it takes you where you have no phones, where you have no internet. It takes you really in the same place I were when I was a kid. Because I was surrounded by the movie theater, and that was it. So when you are into the hood under the headset, you are somewhere, and you are somewhere where you want to be, and there's nothing else that can disturb you, and this moment is just for you. That's what I like in this well-being thing is. Okay, this is a precious moment because it's you with you, and you're going to spend the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is, enjoying yourself, enjoying an experience which is made for you, and it's for you. And of course, it won't fix the problem you have outside, because outside is outside, but at least during this moment, you have this moment, you will be free, and your mind will be able to play with things you want to play with, and all that. It will give you some oxygen to be able to face the reality you will have to face when you will take off your hood. So that's where I am right now, and that's what gives me passion and hope for entertainment / well-being things.
Mr. Kamar, thank you so much for your time. This has been wonderful.
Oh, my very pleasure. Thank you so much for calling me.